What up, y'all? Yep, it's me, Uncle Ricky's house. Another episode. This time, we're going to talk about the Supreme Court again, because the Supreme Court is getting ready to bend over America and ram it right up, you know what, all of our collective buttholes once again. Just like they did last summer with Dobbs. They're going to wait. And, you know, right before they break and go to hang up in their caves, wherever they, you know, whatever they do for the summer. And I'm not going to say all of them, because there are three that are relatively sane and do try to rule with the people's interests and the law in mind at times. Sometimes they even do some dumb shit, or what we perceive to be dumb shit. But in this case, or in these cases, ruling in favor of the plaintiffs will definitely set the people in the middle, regardless of what color you are, and people got to start realizing this. It's not so much about color anymore. It's about one group of assholes maintaining the right to keep their foot on your neck for whatever reason they deem necessary. Whether it's race, whether it's sex, whether it's religion. If you think I'm wrong, just look around. Every group, no matter what it is being persecuted by those that think they are better than. They will adopt religion to, back up the claim that we've been ordained by God to do this shit. You know, we can do what we want to do because God says it's okay. Or, we the ones with the money, we the ones with the land, so none of the rest of you motherfuckers got anything to say, but, you know, it's okay if you go and fight and die while we sit here and bitch about how stupid you are for going and fighting and dying, so we don't have to do it. You know, we can claim that, you know, the red, white, and blue and, you know, wave the flag as long as it's for us, but when it comes to y'all motherfuckers, we with Putin. The Supreme Court is rubber stamping all their bullshit, because there are 6 people on the Supreme Court that got there and were put there for that very same purpose, backed by something called the Federalist Society, backed by extreme right-wing MAGA politics. Now, the cases that are up now, that are going to probably rock us worse than Dobbs, and the Democrats have gotten hip to this shit. I mean, they were hip to it a long time ago, but now they've finally gotten off their dusty asses and started to do something. But in a lot of cases, like with Dobbs, you know, they tried to patch the fucking torpedo that hit the ship, you know, with the recent bill they sent to the White House, you know, somewhat protecting same-sex marriage, somewhat protecting interracial marriage. But is it too little, too late? I don't know. We're going to have to see, because it should have been done a long time ago. Once people are recognized, once the group is recognized, once a struggle is recognized, it should automatically go into a process of being protected under the law. But as a black person, I know that ain't gonna happen, because, you know, we got here in 1619, we got basically thrown into, you know, the quote-unquote American social system in 1863, and it took until 1965 for the law to pass some bills that kind of like gave us a chance to breathe. Okay, but let's get to what we're talking about right now. In Colorado, there are several cases in the Supreme Court that are connected to Colorado. But the one I want to deal with in particular, because it displays the arrogance of one side, their side, and perhaps the naivete of our side. And when I say our side, I mean the civil rights side, because the case involves a wedding planner in the state of Colorado that's licensed by the state to do business in the state. She pays taxes in the state. Blase, blase, blase. On surface, she is 100% legal. That she refused to serve or provide service to a same-sex marriage couple, a gay couple, that wanted her to do the webpage for their wedding. Now, her reason was that same-sex weddings went against her religious views because she is a far-right evangelical Christian. Now, her reason for doing this is because, yeah, she was licensed in Colorado because that's where she lived and that's where she chose to do her business, but she felt like that because it was her religious belief, it's violating her First Amendment rights to religious freedom, it's violating her First Amendment rights to speech, and that the bottom line was because she feels that she is an artist. It's not like she's selling something needed like a can of soup. Everybody needs soup. Everybody deserves soup to eat, to live. Blase, blase, blase. But her product is coming from her own powers of creation, her own mental design, her own heartfelt emotions. And if she feels a certain way about a certain subject, about a certain condition, gay marriage, why should she be forced to go against her emotions and what she thinks in her mind to provide a service that this gay couple really doesn't need to exist? And you know what? I hate to say it, but she has a point. But I'm not saying that it makes it right, but it is a point that can be debated. And that's how, when it was picked up by certain groups of lawyers that pushed this, let's set everything back to 1965 so white people can be in charge, under the disguise of conservatism and religious morality, it's all it is a mask for racism. It got to the Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court doesn't have to take every case that makes its way up to the Supreme Court. They can refuse it. But because you got 6 ultra right-wing conservative justices out of 9, and these individual judges are the ones, that sit over the different federal circuit courts that these cases had to go through in the beginning, they just waiting because this is their whole goal, to make America in their own image, where, let's face it, white, wealthy, you can be a minority as long as you're wealthy, as long as you are willing to let white people stay in charge. These are the motherfuckers that are waiting for this bullshit. The point I'm trying to make is they're going to continue to generate bullshit. They're going to continue to create circumstances. And we can't avoid this, but why should we feed them on needless points? Colorado got its laws. It made its laws to conform to the federal law against anti-discrimination, anti-bias based on, race, religion, sex, blase, blase, blase. The thing is, I understand why these people were mad. I mean, look at me. I was born in 1958. I grew up in the 60s. I grew up in the 70s. I matured in the 70s. I became an adult in the 80s. Don't you think I've been in situations where I knew people didn't like me just because of the color of my skin? Don't you know that I've been in situations where people gave me less than quality service because of the color of my skin? And yes, it insulted my ego because I knew what the fuck was going on. But the thing was, eventually I had to come to grips with the reality of, is it worth it? Do I really need this? Or can I just put my money back in my pocket and go somewhere else and get better treatment from people that either want to respect the law or respect me? Either way, I get what I want on a better basis. I'm not saying the Colorado couple was wrong. And I'm not saying they knew that it was going to boil down to their feelings getting hurt and them actually providing the fuel for a racist, ultra-conservative Supreme Court to take us back to 1965. I'm just saying that in the struggle, no matter where you are, whether it's black rights, gay rights, women's rights, whatever rights, if it's a civil right, think about what you're doing before you do it. Martin Luther King provided a prime example in the bus boycott. Rosa Parks is an icon because, and she deserves it. But don't you know that there was a 15-year-old black girl that came before Rosa Parks that could have been the, national image for the Southern Christian Leadership Movement or NAACP? But they changed to Parks because the 15-year-old was single and pregnant. She was having a child out of wedlock, which made her a PR disaster. And they knew that was going to be a deal breaker from the beginning. Times have changed, but the game is still the same. Think. Don't let your ego get your throat cut. That's it for me, Uncle Ricky. Look, if you like what you heard, you like it. If you don't like what you heard, you don't like it. If you don't give a fuck, you don't give a fuck. But as for me right now, I'm going to wish everybody peace out and God bless from Uncle Ricky's house. See you next time. Bye.